So DEI is also the reason why you had Claudine Gay as the president of Harvard, and why Harvard, as we mentioned yesterday, held on to her for 4 weeks after she basically celebrated the fact that her campus is an anti-Semitic dumpster fire. Well, she finally lost her job yesterday, as we told you, and it was because of over 50 counts of plagiarism that were found by conservative right-of-center journalists at the Free Beacon, led by and pointed to activist Christopher Rufo. And the way the mainstream media covered the story was a little different than how we covered it yesterday during our breaking coverage. No, apparently the whole story is encapsulated in this headline: how a proxy fight over campus politics brought down Harvard's president. It's really just about campus politics. Amid plagiarism allegations and a backlash to campus anti-Semitism, Claudine Gay became an avatar for broader criticisms of academia. Well, I mean, when Harvard hung on to her and refused to let her go, she did become that avatar. She represented everything that's wrong with the elite Ivy League university. So I guess they got that right. Let's check this headline out: how the right toppled Harvard's president. You see, it's all conservatives' fault. She's not responsible for this at all. Her inability to actually write her own creative thoughts in a paper, and she had to be forced to copy and paste and put them into her own academic papers, upwards to 50 times at least, that have been discovered. That has nothing to do with it. Nope. It's the right. It's conservatives. Harvard President Claudine Gay's resignation is a win for right-wing chaos agents. How about a win for truth and justice and reality? How about it being a win for the students at Harvard, especially those who have been expelled for doing less than the president with regard to plagiarism? Although the chef's kiss headline has to go to the Associated. Oh, we'll get to the Associated Press in a minute. Claudine Gay resigns as Harvard president, igniting celebration from Christopher Rufo and Elise Stefanik. You know, that's where the real drama is who's celebrating. Because the truth is only the truth based on the political ideology of the people who are exposing it. And if you're a conservative, then the truth, well, that's not nearly as important as who you are and what you believe. But here is the chef's kiss, as I said. Associated Press: Harvard's president's resignation highlights new conservative weapon against colleges: plagiarism. That's right. Plagiarism is just a right-wing weapon. Well, good old Community Notes at X actually provides a little more context. Plagiarism is not just a weapon for right-wing ideologues to use against colleges. It's also a breach of rules for Harvard University. Claudine Gay was ultimately forced to resign for a series of breaches of this policy. That's right. I know you may think that plagiarism is just a weapon that right-wing fanatics can use, but it also happens to be technically against the rules. Rules that Claudine Gay was actually supposed to enforce and did enforce against students, you know, just Joe and Jane America like you and me, or our kids if we could afford to put them in Harvard. But Claudine Gay, she's well above that, right? One other great aspect of this is the Associated Press's article that used the term scalp. Yeah, listen to this. Christopher Rufo, a conservative activist who helped orchestrate the effort, celebrated her departure as a win in his campaign against elite institutions of higher education. On X, formerly Twitter, he wrote, "Scalped," as if Gay was a trophy, as if, this is my favorite part of the scalped reference in the AP article, as if Gay was a trophy of violence invoking a gruesome practice taken up by white colonists who sought to eradicate Native Americans. So let's work on that for a moment. When you hear the term scalped, specifically in reference to Native American history, you know, and I'm talking history into the 18th and 19th century, well before Elizabeth Warren's time, older Native American history. If you hear the term scalped, generally speaking, you're going to think of the technique used by the very same Native Americans, you know, the Apaches, scalping white pioneers in their covered wagons making it to the West. Apparently, you'd be wrong. No. Scalping is actually a practice taken up by white colonists seeking to eradicate Native Americans. You know, when DEI infects the newsroom as well as the history book writers, this is the end result. And think about it. Not only did a reporter write that in the article, but it had to go through copy editing and final checks before they hit the publish button. But even more importantly, our friends over at Town Hall, which is where I am right now, they point out the fact that AP used the word scalp liberally when it serves their purposes. Here's a tweet from 2012. Barclays boss Diamond quits with immediate effect. Latest scalp of price-fixing scandal. So is AP guilty of utilizing a term invoking the gruesome practice taken up by white colonists? Well, I guess by their own standard they are. I mean, if they had any standards. But the gay criticism continues here, not just from about Claudine Gay, but also from this person, Mara Gay. She's a editorial writer over at the New York Times. You may remember her. When we last checked in with this woman, an editorial writer at the New York Times, she was commenting during the 2020 primary election about Michael Bloomberg and the hundreds of millions of dollars that he was spending. And she got her math wrong. And the way she calculated the money Michael Bloomberg was spending, she calculated that he could actually give $1 million to every voter in Iowa and win the caucus instead of spending it on TV ads. Now, needless to say, Mara Gay didn't do her math properly that day, but she didn't lose her job. She's still the voice of the New York Times, and she had something to say about the resignation of Claudine Gay and who's really to blame.
The thing that really disturbs me is the unrelenting campaign from the right and from some conservative activists to slander, discredit, and ultimately, I guess, somebody used the phrase, we've claimed a scalp, I think, on social media, to essentially unseat Gay and other presidents as well, when they don't like, not just the handling of the horrific attacks on Israel on October 7th, the way that was handled on campus, but really anything else.
I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish there. Okay. All right. Just hang on a second. But this is an important point to make because you're hearing a lot from her and you're about to hear it again. And you hear it from a lot of critics on the left saying that this attack on Claudine Gay was racist, that it was racist. And in some cases sexist, but mostly racist. As if, if this was a white man who had done this, we wouldn't also be exercised over. I mean, last I checked, we have a lot of criticism of Joe Biden, and he is the whitest man in America. I mean, except for the really bizarre sunburn he just got down in St. Croix. But other than that, he is pretty much the whitest man in America. And we have plenty to say in criticism of that man. Gavin Newsom, just about as white on the Pantone scale as Joe Biden is. And I'm pretty sure we have a lot of criticism of Joe Biden, or of Gavin Newsom, right? As if we wouldn't be all in on this story if every fact was exactly the same, but Claudine Gay was Claude Gay, a dude, a white dude. So number one, obviously this is not a racist thing. And then let me give you further evidence of that. You see this woman right here on the screen? That's Liz McGill. Who's Liz McGill, you may ask? Liz McGill is the president of the University of Pennsylvania. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. She's the former president of the University of Pennsylvania because she was forced out the week after her testimony on Capitol Hill, where she said basically the exact same thing Claudine Gay said about the use of the term intifada and anti-Semitic tropes that have been trotted out on her campus, just like on Harvard's campus, right? And conservatives were exercised and angry about that. And she was forced to resign. Do you notice a difference between Claudine Gay and Liz McGill? Yeah, she's not black. She's not black. And we were outraged over what she said under oath in this very same kind of, she's sitting right next to Claudine Gay. We were angry at both of them. So how is it only racist when it's directed at Claudine Gay, when it is literally the exact same argument and the exact same criticism? The only difference here is that Liz McGill in the Board of Regents at the University of Pennsylvania had a little bit more self-awareness and dignity to get rid of her that week instead of dragging it out over 4 weeks. Well, and the other difference is, unlike Claudine Gay, Liz McGill, as far as I know, is not guilty of 50 instances of plagiarism. But no, if you have anything to say about Claudine Gay and her embrace of anti-Semites who celebrate Hamas terrorists on campus, and your ability to protect them at the expense of Jewish students, and, oh, by the way, her use of plagiarized material over 50 times in her academic works, if you think that's a problem, you might as well put a Klan hood on, just like the governor of Virginia, former governor of Virginia. All right, now we'll let Mara Gay finish.
That they don't like about not just these presidents, but actually what they would call wokeism on campus. So this is really an attack on academic freedom. It's an attack on
plagiarism is now academic freedom. If you're not free to plagiarize without any consequence, you don't truly have academic freedom. That's where we are right now. Can we start homeschooling college, please?
On people who are pluralists and believe that you should bring people from all over the world together of diverse backgrounds, and that you actually have more scholarly rigor and more value can be brought by having people from different backgrounds. This is an attack on diversity. This is an attack on multiculturalism and on many of the values that a lot of us hold dear. And in fact, anybody really who is around my age in their 30s who went to any major public university or private university in this country, these are values that are very important. And I think that's why these presidents are under attack. That's why Claudine Gay was under attack. The fact that she's a Black woman and the first person who is a Black American to lead Harvard only added to their thirst to dethrone her. And, those attacks, I don't have to say that they're racist, because you can hear and see the racism in the attacks when people like Vivek Ramaswamy say, okay, this is a problem about diversity in hiring. I mean, this is racism as well. So there's a lot of different layers here, but I don't want to miss the attacks on academics.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite part of this entire diatribe. When she says, I don't even have to say that it's racist. It's just evident in the attacks. That's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful, beautiful free pass you get when you can go on television, a major, well, it's MSNBC, so it's not that major, but theoretically, a major national cable news network, and make the claim that the attacks are racist, and then not actually have to back it up. And the one piece of evidence that you put forth from Vivek Ramaswamy saying that this is a problem with diversity, I mean, the fact that she got to keep her job for 4 weeks after the white woman who did the same thing got to keep it without plagiarism, I mean, you got to give me an explanation as to what it is, considering the fact that she got her job after the George Floyd incident, and every aspect of her public statements as president of Harvard is filtered through the lens of diversity and race, number one. But number two, even more importantly, Vivek Ramaswamy is a man of color. So Vivek Ramaswamy's criticism is the only thing she can bring up as evidence of racist attacks, which she then never has to back up because she says, I don't have to. Maybe it's me, but if you make the argument that people are racist, maybe you should. Maybe you do have to back it up. But of course, we don't have the same editorial standards that MSNBC does.